Good morning. Right now here on King 5 Plus, we are streaming a very, very important newscast as we keep a close eye on area rivers as water levels continue to rise. We are tracking numerous flood warnings in effect as we speak during this atmospheric river event. We're seeing flooding up and down the Puget Sound region. Several rivers are expecting a larger second crest in the coming days, as up to 8 inches of rain or more are expected to fall up in the Cascades. Our crews are tracking the rising waters and reporting at least one landslide now in the North Bend area. We'll get to that. First, Rich Marriott tracking the latest for us, as you have been doing all morning on King 5 mornings on air and online, Rich. So we're talking about this big green blob, frankly.
It is a big green blob.
Yeah, this Doppler radar really lit up this morning.
We saw the little bit of a break yesterday. Actually saw some sun around Puget Sound. However, they still got 2 to 3 inches of rain up in the Cascades. So it pretty much held the input into the rivers pretty steady. And as we promised, the second wave has moved in with the atmospheric river pointed directly at us. We've seen the, interestingly enough, we've been seeing the Olympic rain shadow, which is pretty reliable, having troubles forming and maintaining itself because so much moisture is coming in that the Olympics isn't picking it all off. Part of it's still making it into the Cascades as well. And we did get a report from Brady Wakayama out there, and I believe in the Snoqualmie River, or actually in the Snohomish, that it had let up for a while, but you can see that's kind of the rain shadow kind of going out that direction and then finally just giving up. So overall, first alert weather through Thursday. We've extended to at least Thursday. It may go beyond that. Heavy rain and gusty winds today, decreasing showers tomorrow, but that river flooding is going to take several days to go away, it looks like, and may continue to have big impacts on travel around western Washington all the way into the weekend. And also the landslide risk is going to continue for the next 1 to 2 weeks, as it takes a while for it all to percolate through. So western Washington, all of it's involved from the Cascades to the coast. So we'll take a look at that in detail and look at what's happening in terms of each of the rivers. And there's a lot of them going on. I think we have something like 23 rivers or 26 rivers actually that are under flood warnings right now. So we'll check that out in just a couple minutes.
Just incredible. Rich, thank you. And you mentioned we are tracking flooding in the Snohomish area. This was shared to us by Fire District 4 of Old Snohomish Road area, almost fully submerged here. One vehicle at least. You can see crews here really trying to assess the damage here, trying to make sure no one drives through. Workers had to actually pull at least one a driver from this flood water. So word to the wise there, Ashley Ruiz, as we track these conditions, do not drive into those flooded areas.
No, never, ever underestimate the power of water. And it's just not worth it. And it could be much deeper than you think. A road could be washed out. It doesn't take much to see some issues. And I wanted to show you, you heard Rich, all of the major flooding rivers that are expected to reach major flooding, the Skagit, Snoqualmie especially, so the Snohomish and Skagit likely going to be the big issues. And we are going to continue to see those levels rise. Right now, the Puyallup at Auburn right now in major flood stage, going to continue to climb. It is expected to crest later this morning. The Snohomish at Snohomish likely going to reach that record level, as well as the Snohomish near Monroe forecast to reach major flood stage. So that bright fuchsia color you see there, that means major flood stage. The Skagit near Mount Vernon expected to crest Friday morning and several feet above the previous record. Here's some of our records or our river levels right now and the forecast. The Cowlitz at Randall currently at 22.1, and it's expected to keep going up into tomorrow morning. So you see some of our rivers are already in that moderate flood stage, and once again they're going to continue to rise. And with all of that being said, we still have the chance for some widespread flooding, even in the lowlands. Small stream and moderate to major flooding expected, especially for areas shaded in the darker blue. This is a product from the National Weather Prediction Service. They are saying that the areas in the blue, that's where we could see some of the biggest issues, especially over Skagit and Snohomish counties. So coming up, we'll have more in-depth details and coverage on all of this, and we'll talk about that increased threat for landslides.
Well, it is a first alert traffic morning as well, because as you would imagine, the weather is having a huge impact on the roads. I've lost track of how many crashes we've had since we came on air at 4:30, but I can tell you at least 2 of them involve cars rolling over. Right now, you're taking a look out on 405 southbound. If you are heading out in Renton, this is near Sunset Boulevard, where you have a lane blocked because of a crash involving multiple cars. That backup is stretching back to I-90. And further north on 405, you have a crash here near Bothell as you work your way out near Northeast 144th Street. If you're going southbound, you can see things slowing down there as well, stretching back past Canyon Park. Those are just 2 of a lot of incidents. Most of those flashing exclamation points you see here on your screen represent some type of road closure because of flooding. So that shows you how serious it is out here. We will talk about some of those closures coming up in just a few moments.
Traffic, just such a big part of the story as well. Thank you, Shantae. As we follow more breaking news from the North Bend area, where a mudslide has now taken out a road and cut off multiple homes. This is in the Edgewick community, about 5 miles southeast of North Bend, just off I-90. The slide took out a big chunk of the roadway here, and people there say that was their only way in or out. Our Drew Andre is tracking this. Drew, you were at a mudslide earlier in the week, too, on I-90. This area really feeling the effects of this atmospheric river. What's the latest now?
Well, it is, Jake, and maybe it shouldn't be a surprise to us with the amount of rain. I mean, you can look at me and just see how much it's been raining over the course of this morning. So, yes, we're here in the Edgewick neighborhood. This is Edgewick Road. Let's show you some video now that we just captured for safety. Crews asked us to step back a little further. But you can see about half the roadway there is now gone. This all actually started on Monday. Monday night, there was a portion of the road that got washed out, but people are still able to drive through there. And then because of this latest round of rain, we have now fully closed that road. The road is fully closed. And it looks to us like there could be about 15 homes that are back there. And that is the only access out of there. It's just a one road. So we've reached out to King County and WashDOT. Here, as you see, another crew going in there to ask how exactly they are going to manage this situation, what it's going to mean for the people that live back there. But I think this is a good example of the kind of thing that we are seeing around here because of this atmospheric river. Jake.
Well, and a little eerie too, Drew. Behind you, there is this sort of creek that's formed on the side of the roadway here, right? I'm assuming that is not supposed to be like that.
Yes. Right, Jake. Yeah, I'm glad you pointed that out there. There is just essentially a waterfall that is flowing down this street here. All of that runoff, and there you can see there too. They even put some sandbags there. All of this then flows back down towards a creek that is just to my left over there. So yeah, a fair amount of standing water depending on where you're driving through or walking around.
Yeah, and the fear, as you mentioned, is getting that ground so saturated that it gets those deep-seated landslides that could cause a much bigger issue. Drew, thanks for the reporting there near North Bend again today. Appreciate it. Stay safe. Speaking of landslides and mudslides, this is another shot just sent to us from WashDOT, sharing a photo of the hillside that brought down a debris field yesterday, also in the North Bend area. This was near the ramp along I-90 yesterday. It forced the closure of all those eastbound lanes, as we reported to you. Several hours I-90 was closed. Rocks and mud just slid down the hillside. Look at the deep-seated issue there. So geotechnical experts were told we'll be monitoring this area, hoping that it doesn't continue. We are expecting these high water levels to return today. A lot of rivers are starting to crest again, headed back to record high levels. The Snohomish is one of them. Brady Wakayama is there live in Snohomish this morning. Brady, I had a friend of mine this morning send me some pictures of what it looked like there in 1990 when they had those devastating floods. We're flirting with that level again in the coming hours. What's the latest?
Yeah, good morning, Jay. That's certainly the case. That's what our weather team has been saying, and certainly want to follow their advice. But yeah, the rain has really started coming down here in Snohomish. We're just off of First Street, right next to the riverfront gazebo, with the Snohomish River just over my shoulder there. There it is right there. You can see it's flowing, and we've been seeing a lot of debris and even logs like that one just flowing down the river throughout this morning. Now, that's what it looks like right now, but take a look at this video from from just yesterday. You can see extensive flooding, that happened yesterday throughout Snohomish County. But as of 2 a.m., today, the Snohomish River was just below flood stage at 24.4 feet, but it's rising fast. Forecasters expected to crest near 33.7 feet by late tomorrow, bring severe near record flooding. Flood warnings remain in effect across the county, with major flooding likely on the Snohomish, Skykomish, and Still-Squamish rivers, and emergency managers urge residents in low-lying areas to stay alert and follow evacuation notices as more heavy rain is expected to come in. And as I mentioned too, we do have some of that rain coming in right now during this report. But another thing to note as well is that the conditions on the road here in Snohomish have been pretty solid, but we did see a handful of road closed signs, and we did also see a couple of drivers going past those road closure signs, and that's certainly a big no-no. You certainly want to follow what those signs say, because you don't know what's behind it, especially with some of these dangerous conditions. But Jake, I'll send it back to you.
Yeah, and Brady, before you go, you had mentioned the debris behind you. I mean, the Snohomish River, famous for those gigantic tree trunks floating down the river. Have you been seeing more of that debris coming your way from upriver?
Yeah, I would say so. I mean, each report that we've done throughout the morning, we've been seeing massive logs, even a log right there behind me just flow down. But yeah, we've certainly seen what appears to be uptick of logs flowing down this river throughout the morning. So something to keep an eye out.
Yeah, definitely, because that's what damages those bridge abutments. So we'll be watching that as well. Brady, thank you, my friend. Stay safe. Looking to the mountains now over Stevens Pass, where it is looking even more sparse with every hour that passes. You are seeing snow in some spots, but for the most part, it is becoming bare and wet and rainy. Temperatures now above 40 degrees there at the base at Stevens. Up to 8 inches of rain is expected in some spots of the Cascade. I don't have to tell you that is not good for ski areas here in December as they try to build a base to get the ski area open for the season. Classes are canceled today in the Skykomish School District because of flooding concerns. Highway 2 near Gold Bar is really the only reliable way in and out for students and staff, and it's being threatened by the swollen Skykomish River. This is what it looked like yesterday. It's been rising ever since. The rising river again expected to reach major flood stage at some point tomorrow. We have also learned that the Concrete School District in Skagit County is closed today and tomorrow because of flooding concerns along the Skagit River. The Skagit going to be one of those areas we watch very closely in the coming hours as it threatens record flood levels too. Urban flooding is a big concern in Auburn. Several neighbors there seeing their yardways filled with water. Savannah Welch reports from Auburn with the latest.
Yeah, here in Auburn, we're seeing a lot of flooding in roads and streets and fields as well, and gas stations too. Take a look at the Chevron here behind me. The entire parking lot is submerged. I talked to the manager earlier this morning. He said they got in about 5 a.m. and they can't even get to the front door. They're trying to figure out how they're going to drain this once the rain finally lets up. But there's upwards of 3 feet of water. It's just very high, spilling out into the roadway here, and nearby streets like South 277th are closed. Obviously, major drainage issues here. The Green River is very close by to where we are, and it runs through Auburn. It's been causing some issues, as well as some of those fields out there that are just collecting water and overflowing. Let's show you that video from earlier. This was on Black Diamond Road, where multiple houses were surrounded by water. Right now, 7 miles of Green Valley Road are shut down because of safety concerns. King County is warning people not to drive or walk through that area, or obviously flooded areas too. Again, we've seen some people get stuck. We've seen some people have to get towed out of driving through some of those high standing water areas, and also some people, might not see debris. There's just stuff in the roadway that can always cause issues, so you might not see that. If you're driving through, you might think you might be able to make it, but there are a lot of people that get stuck. We saw multiple cars get towed yesterday that were stuck after they bypassed a road closure. So make sure to follow those signs, follow what crews tell you to do, and be safe out there, because obviously water is a very big issue today. In Auburn, Savannah Welch, King 5 News.
Water is a big issue indeed. Thanks, Savannah. King County has free sandbag sites set up if you need them. For those of you that live in or around a river bed, you may want to consider that if you haven't already. Several free 3 sandbag sites are set up in King County. If you text us the word sand to 206-448-4545, we'll make sure we get a list sent right to your phone. We're seeing so much flooding across the region that it is impacting the roadways. This is what we saw yesterday in Falls City on 308th Avenue. This is just off Highway 202. They are no stranger to flooding there in Falls City. You can see farm fields and the baseball diamond under several feet of water. That's hard to see. Our viewer Sue sent us this. She says she was right there when the North River meets the Skykomish. Also, look at that. A stairway to the beautiful river is underwater today. And a look at Highway 10 near the Teanaway River washed out, posting this from Cleellum. The road remains closed from Highway 970 to Hayward Road. You do not want to see water that close to the roadway on those bridges. And all the way to the south in Puyallup, this is a look at flooding yesterday over the Puyallup River. This is near the North Meridian Bridge. You can see how swollen the river is. The police department also posting this online, telling everybody to stay safe. So, guys, this is one of those weather events, what were we saying, a 10 to 20 year event, potentially, is what we're saying. So, Rich, you don't see this very often.
No, you don't. What it is, and of course, we know, I forget which one it was, approaching its historic high back in '95. But this sort of thing where one or two rivers goes to historic happens about every 10 to 20 years is what we're talking about when we say that. So
yeah, we were talking to this. It's got the Skagit River too. That's something we haven't talked a whole lot about, but important that we do so. 4 to 5 feet above the record level set in 1990. That's saying something.
Exactly, and at least 3 other areas expected to potentially reach record levels as well.
The Snohomish is another one, and
well, the Skagit, they have concerns about the dikes that are around there, and they're really, really important. And the Skagit is actually, it's a pretty dangerous river when it gets really high. So,
and the water continues.
The water continues. It's not messing around. That's for sure. The Doppler radar, it's going to need a vacation after this, I think. But there's a shot from up at Hurricane Ridge, just up in the mountains. Our snow levels actually dropped to 4,500 feet. We saw 2 to 3 inches of snow at Stevens Pass and at Mount Baker. But today, that snow level is up around 8,000 feet. Definitely obvious looking out there at Hurricane Ridge this morning. Now, if we check the Doppler radar, a lot of green going on out there. That's basically the second wave of that atmospheric river that we were talking about earlier in the week. And after that little bit of a pause yesterday, though, during that little bit of a pause, the mountains got 2 to 3 inches of rain and really got soaked down. Not as much as they're going to be today, when we're expecting 4 to 8 inches between now and on Thursday morning. So definitely a really, really wet period of time. That rain shadow of the Olympics, normally pretty reliable to form somewhere, but you see it's really having difficulty making it work simply because there's so much moisture coming in. Even the Olympics can't squeeze it all out before it gets into Puget Sound and then on up into the Cascades after that. So there in Everett, you get the idea. It looks like the cameras might be underneath rivers at this point. Checking the 7-day forecast, there is a little bit of good news in there, and the fact it does dry towards the weekend. In fact, decreasing showers tomorrow, but we've extended first alert weather at least until tomorrow, because even though the rain coming down is going to gradually diminish tomorrow, it's going to take quite a while for all this water to recede back into the rivers, flow back into the rivers, and for the rivers to actually recede. And because they're flowing so high, the water that's spilled out and is over pasture lands and roads will take longer to drain off than it ordinarily will. So we may see those effects into the weekend, but it does dry out for a couple of days. We do see some rain return late in the weekend and on into next week. It doesn't look like it's going to be atmospheric river levels, but it's still going to be wet. We'd be better without it, that's for sure. But the fact that we get a few days of drying should help out a great deal. Checking our overall first alert weather, we've extended again through tomorrow. Heavy rain and gusty winds for today. And then as we head towards tomorrow, the river flooding problems will continue for at least tomorrow, maybe several days beyond that into the weekend. And the landslide risk is going to be elevated probably for the next 1 to 2 weeks. It's going to take a long time for all of that water to percolate through the soil. And basically, it's affecting all of the Cascades to the coast. So nobody's missing out on this. Overall, at the latest count, and this is changing with time, there are flood warnings on 26 different rivers, major flooding forecasts on 13 of those, and near historics right around 4 have the possibility of hitting that. So it's really a major flooding situation. Checking the satellite image this morning, you can definitely see that hose aimed directly at us. direct from the subtropics. We have that connection down there up into the northwest. This is what used to be called the Pineapple Express. For that, researchers have figured out that these Pineapple Expresses come in different flavors. Some are weak and some are strong. This is a strong one, but they're actually important to giving us the rainfall along the west coast to help fight drought. So they can be a benefit, but this one definitely not, just too much in too short a time. Looking at the computer model, you can see it's aimed directly at us today, but as we head towards late today and early tomorrow, you see it drop southward, and then it just kind of dissipates and goes away, and then you can see it now it's re-aimed out there at British Columbia, and we should see that couple of days of drier weather headed our way before we see a little rain return as we head towards the end of the weekend. Rainfall between now and tomorrow morning, anywhere from 1 to 3 inches, so getting a lot in the lowlands, 4 to 8 inches up in the mountains. There's that hurricane ridge shot, not much left of the rain they had earlier. You can see there Mount Rainier Paradise. That's at 5,000 feet. Not much snow there for sure. Checking the snow levels again. We saw snow down to Stevens Pass yesterday, but snow levels up at 8,000 feet today. It's going to bounce between about 6 and 7, it looks like, all the way into next week. But as we head towards the middle part of the week, the models are starting to indicate we could see the snow levels drop all the way down to Snoqualmie with some significant snowfall. So fingers crossed on the models being right out there at distance. Checking our, well, that's where we normally see Snoqualmie Pass, but not now. Okay, checking Snoqualmie Pass forecast, though, we are seeing that. Rain heavy at times and really mild, upper 40s there in Stevens Pass. Also looking at that rain after the snow yesterday, which is now in the process of being washed away. Taking a look at the forecast then, heavy rain, gusty winds today. Those will all diminish as we head towards late tonight and early tomorrow. But tomorrow, even with the decreasing showers, still seeing a lot of flooding going on, and a lot of crests will be occurring tomorrow. And as we head into Friday and Saturday, not partly sunny, but a few showers, some sun breaks, rain turning to showers on Sunday, and then Monday and Tuesday, rain at times. But again, not in the quantities you see from an atmospheric river, fortunately, but still some rain coming down, and those high temperatures cooling as we head towards the middle part of the week.
And as Rich mentioned earlier, we have 13 of our rivers expected to reach major flood stage, but we have about 26 flood warnings of our rivers. And you see all of this green, those are the flood warnings that are in place. And again, numerous of them are expected to reach major flood stage. Here's where we are right now. The Puyallup at Ording, I know it's reading 21.4, but it's 21,400. The crest is expected to occur maybe within the next hour or so. At least that's what the forecast says. The previous record set in 2007, it's close to about 100 from that, the flow. So likely going to, if I had to guess, it's either going to tie it, but either way, it's likely causing some major flooding. Snohomish is climbing. It's still in that action stage, but the crest forecast is for tomorrow evening, the 11th at 9 p.m. and it's expected to reach or come close to that record from 1990. The Snohomish near Monroe as well. It's expected to crest tomorrow afternoon. Previous record 25.3, as well as the Cedar at Renton coming close to it. Actually, yes, coming very close to it. The Skagit near Mount Vernon not expected to crest until Friday morning, and it's going to definitely exceed over 4 feet above that record. Here are some of the other rivers that we currently have. The Skykomish near Gold Bar already in that major flood stage, and it's expected to crest tonight about 22.36. The Tolt near Carnation, not quite there yet, expected to crest in that major flood stage tonight as well. And you see the Nooksack at Ferndale, moderate for now. And the Cowlitz at Randall's currently in major flood stage and likely going to maybe even crest again later. It's forecast right now December 11th at 10 a.m. And then the Carbon near Fairfax also expected to reach that major flood stage level. This is a product, it's experimental, so it's not officially out to the public, if you will, just yet. It's, again, an experiment with it. But the dark blue that you see, that means there there's the potential for considerable flooding for areas and rivers coming off of the Cascades. Major and or record flooding expected, especially over the Snohomish and the Skagit. But even in the lowlands, we could have some flooding as well. Also, that increased threat for landslides and debris flows. This is a special weather statement from the National Weather Service out of Seattle. So for everywhere shaded in that white color, that is where we'll have that potential and growing chance for landslides, debris flows, mudslides, so on and so forth. But that threat, you heard Rich mention, it may continue for quite some time just because of how saturated everything is. The futurecast shows this is into the afternoon. You see it's just continuous before it slowly moves to the south, and then it should finally let up. Shantae, how are things looking out there so far?
Yeah, we'll get to Shantae just real quickly. Before we do that, we want to remind you at home, you can track river levels as well in real time. You can text the word rivers to us. Don't forget the S on that word, the keyword there, but the number is 206-448-4545, the word rivers, and we'll send you that interactive map for you to track river levels in real time too. Shantae, yeah, traffic is a big part of this weather, really impacting the roads. It's still a rough morning.
Yeah, it's been a messy morning. You know, a lot of you all are dealing with the wet conditions. If you look on this map, I don't think I've seen it lit like this throughout this whole year, that's for sure. If you see those flashing exclamation points, most of them represent some type of road closure because of flooding. You saw Drew and you saw Brady, even Savannah, talking about some of those closures. So as you prepare to head out, we've had a lot of crashes this morning as well. I've actually lost count, but because of the wet roads, that's really been impacting that. Two of the crashes involved cars flipping over. So as you head out right now or throughout the day, you definitely want to factor in some extra time. This is a lookout on 405. This crash has been taking a while to clear out in Renton. This is near Sunset Boulevard. You can see how slick it is out there. And if you are going southbound, so for those of you leaving Bellevue, that backup is stretching back to I-90. It's also impacting the northbound traffic. Now, for those of you that travel with the normal flow of traffic, so leaving Pierce County going north into Seattle, that's been the area where you've seen the most trouble today. If you were watching a few moments ago, I told you about a crash on the other end of 405 for those of you heading out near Bothell. That has since cleared, so that is good news. However, what's going to likely take maybe even all week to clear is a lot of these flashing exclamation points. Several closures being reported right now if you're traveling between Carnation and Falls City. Those of you in that area know it is flood prone. This is a lookout near Neal Road. You see that purple line letting you know it's blocked out near Highway 203. If you're traveling near Tote Hill Road, a good portion of that block between Highway 203 and Snoqualmie River Road. And if you're traveling out near Auburn, you can see several closures being reported there as well. You heard Savannah mention a few of them, but if you are traveling out on Auburn Black Diamond Road, the specific point for that closure is between T Street and Green Valley Road, and not too far from there out on Green River Road, you have a good portion blocked between 94th Place and 104th Avenue. But again, we cannot get to all these closures, so as you head out this morning and throughout the day, you want to be careful. And of course, if you do come upon a sign with a road closure, you definitely don't want to go around it.
And we've got our eye on the rivers this morning. As we mentioned, this is one product of this atmospheric river. This is Tumwater Falls in Olympia. The Deschutes never looks like this, and here you go. This is what it looks like when you get rain, as we have seen. Jerry, thank you for texting this into the text line, which is still open. You can see it spilling over the top of the walkway there. If you're not familiar, this is what it typically looks like there at Tumwater Falls. I've seen this video 20 times. I've never seen that fish jump, so that's a great little shot there. But this is what it usually looks like. Not nearly as rushing as it is today. The Kittitas County Sheriff also warning about high water levels there. This is near Cleellum. You can see floodwaters reaching some of these homes here after the Yakima River has been swelling well above average, with several more inches expected. So no county has been spared. Mason County included. This near Shelton. Someone had to be rescued from they were trapped in rising floodwaters yesterday. They were stuck in a car on Skokomish Valley Road. A flood rescue truck was able to reach the man and his cat. Fire crews say they have had repeated rescue calls from this stretch of roadway. They're asking you to always turn around and never drive through floodwater. Don't forget to send us your weather pictures like we saw just a moment ago. Some of you texting the text line as we speak, which is open, 206-448-4545. We're using your pictures and video on air and online and on King 5 Plus to help tell the story of this major weather event that we're tracking. So keep those pictures coming. We'll make sure to get those on air over the next 24, 36, and 48 hours with more special coverage ahead with this significant atmospheric river event impacting western Washington. Our coverage continues throughout the day. Watch King 5 News at noon for the latest. We'll also stream live coverage again at 3 o'clock this afternoon here on King 5 Plus. You can stream us always on your TV and watch for free.